Well, welcome to the Top Gun Show, where I try to bring you new technologies, new providers, and new personalities, all so you can make informed decisions. Today, I have a very special guest on the show. I'd like to welcome Rob Shanahan. Rob is one of the world's most published photographers in the music industry. He is also a high demand keynote speaker, getting rave reviews for his engaging and entertaining seminars. Here's his first book, Volume 1, is a collection of rare and many never seen before photographs of the world's biggest music icons. The foreword is even written by Ringo Starr. He just signed a deal with the Washington Speakers Bureau for his keynote speaking engagements. Rob, I've been trying to get you on the Top Gun Show for a couple of years, so I'm thrilled that I finally have you on. Welcome.
Thank you for having me on. And how about this? Thank you for the signed mug.
Nice mug, man. I mean, not that you need help with your career, but I'm just saying the mug's gonna keep you going for sure, for
This
sure.
mug is going to go up on that shelf right next to my signed Charlie Watts print.
Love it,
Ah,
love it, love it. Well, hey, I gotta ask you. I mean, I've looked at your website, I've looked at some of your keynote topics and stuff like that. I think everyone wants your life. Everyone wants to be you when they grow up. But tell me, how did you get started in your work?
well, first of all, I never grew up. That's the beauty. When you say you want to be you when you grow up, never grow up. I'm still that 12-year-old kid fascinated by music and art. And I just found a way to make it a living.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I don't know if you know, I have a newborn. I have a 3-month-old baby. So I am
Fantastic. I
I
didn't know that. Congrats.
yeah, I'm the
Wow, you're just
oldest.
starting. Holy cow.
Well, it's my fourth, but I'm the oldest dad in telecom. So I
No,
never
you're
grow
just
up either,
starting all
man.
over again with this newborn. How great.
I am.
Congrats,
I
man. That's
know.
very
It's
cool.
cool. It's cool. Well, hey Rob, what's your favorite picture? And what I'll put it on the screen here. Describe your favorite picture and why it's your favorite.
I get asked that question a lot. It's like saying, Steve, who's your favorite child out of four? Pick one. You can't. And I have, probably, I've never counted, but probably over 1 million photos in my archives, going back to when I first started taking pictures. And, to pinpoint one and say it's my favorite, that's really hard to do. But one of them that I'm really happy about, and I feel it's probably photography wise one of my best, is the shot of Ringo and Charlie Watts holding the drumsticks. I mean, it's such a moment in time. It was a split second. Ringo got up behind the kid and said, "Charlie, let me hear you play," and handed him the sticks. And Charlie grabbed the sticks, and it was a fraction of a second. And I'm just so happy I captured it. It's one of my
That's
favorite. It makes
great.
people smile. That's what I
That's
love
great.
about
No,
it.
it's a beautiful picture. I've seen that before, but it's you showed it here, and it's a beautiful picture. How about telling me a story of like the most off the hook story behind one of the pictures that you took?
All right. You want to hear a good one? I pulled something off the wall for you. So there's no denying my love for Charlie Watts and the Rolling Stones. One of my favorites, one of the most elusive guys in rock and roll, Charlie Watts. But we became friends through the years. And if you guys want to read my tribute to Charlie that I wrote on magazine, you should go to my website on my blog and read it. It's really sweet. And it talks all about our relationship. And here's a photo I pulled off the wall. Let's see if we can get up there without a reflection. That's me and Charlie in his dressing room. And look at our hands. We're each holding a drumstick,
That's great.
double drumming with Charlie Watts in his dressing room. It doesn't get cooler than that. Nobody gets into
Well,
Charlie's dressing room, but for some reason, he and I just connected, and it was a really beautiful relationship. And I miss him dearly. And it was one of my I think greatest achievements in life. My whole touring with Ringo for over a decade, that was cool. I mean, that's super sweet, and who knows where that's going to go. But to have that time with Charlie was just amazing. Really
yeah,
blessed, I
that's,
feel.
that's a priceless story, man. Thanks for being transparent and sharing that. I appreciate it. Well, let me change to. I mean, everyone knows you as a phenomenal photographer, but let's
Thank you
talk
for
about your
saying.
Yeah, for sure, man. Let's talk about your seminars for a second. I'm intrigued by them. Who are they for, and what are the deliverables for your audience?
Well, let's get back to John Delosier. You had mentioned him earlier, and this all started with John. He was the main influence, uh, as he is with many people, I found out. He was the guy that nudged me in the right direction. We had dinner one night in LA. We met at a dinner party for a country star, Phil Vassar, who was playing in town. John was here. We had a dinner and we started talking, and he started asking me stories. And he's like, "Man, you got to do this on stage to a group of people that really need to hear these stories." And that's really what started it all. Fantastic. I
That's
love it.
great.
I
So,
love it. I had no idea what I was doing, but the first one I did was for CenturyLink down in San Diego. I walk out to 1,000 people in the ballroom, and you don't know if you're going to sink or swim. And off I went. And I just realized it was so much fun and sharing the stories and, not just the stories behind the photos, but the journey. Growing up in small town Minnesota, living in a van in LA and finding my way and never giving up and just, following my dreams.
wow, that's incredible. I mentioned before we went on air here about my friendship with Jay Leno, and he has a very similar story. Drove to L.A. and lived in his car for a while,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the rest is history. But
I've been
that's
on
great,
Jay's
man.
show a couple times with Ringo. I wasn't on the show on set, but I've been there with him while Ringo did the filming, and I've talked to Jay a handful of times. In fact, uh, he and I both have a love for old classic cars, and my '56 Chevy Nomad was next to his '56 Buick at a car show once up in the San Fernando Valley, and we hung out and had a good conversation. I got a photo of him and I with our cars, and I ended up winning best of show of all the cars.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice. I love it. That's
yeah, it
great.
was really cool. Anyway, anytime I see Jay now at the show, we talk about that and see what our cars are doing. But yeah, similar story. Following your
Yeah,
dreams, whatever
he's
it
one of
takes.
the he's one of the nicest human beings I've ever met, for
Yeah,
sure. Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And John Delosier, I mean, what can you say about John Delosier? John Delosier has the unique ability of making everybody feel special. Like, I feel like his best friend, you feel like his best friend. Whoever's life he touches, he's an amazing leader. He's a great businessman, but he has a very unique ability. So I'll talk to him later when when I interview him. Last question, though. I know you're a big fan of the Top Gun Show because you have a signed Top Gun Show coffee mug. And then I know Rob, there are millions and millions of people watching you right now. I have to ask you, when you were a little kid, I know you've never grown up and you're still a little kid, but when you were a little boy, age 6 or 7, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, 6 or 7 was a little early. I didn't start drumming until I was 10. But as soon as I started drumming, and started playing along to my parents' record collection, which, by the way, I found out later in life that most of the drum tracks that I grew up listening to and learning was the great Hal Blaine from the Wrecking Crew. He played on all the Beach Boys, all the Monkees, Captain and Tennille, so many. He played on 1,500 top 40 hits. That guy's been the most recorded drummer in history. And anyway, I realized he was one of my biggest influences. And as soon as I started drumming, I thought, that's what I want to do. And then when I was
Uh,
14, I started into photography and realized, wow, this is cool too. I want to do this. So I still do both.
Hey, you merged both of those lives. That's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Well, Rob, I know you're real busy, and I want to put a plug in. I know you're going to Channel Partners in Vegas in May, and if there are some channel chiefs and some folks out there that would like to contact Rob and do, some keynote speeches at Channel Partners, please click with him on LinkedIn here and reach out to him or go to his website. Will be in the link below. But Rob, thanks for carving out time out of your busy schedule to be on the show, man. I want to thank you very, very much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it.
You bet, Steve. Thanks for having me. And I hope to see you guys out there at a convention soon. Come say hi.
Look forward to it. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Woo!